Amazing.
What's up, man?
My man.
How you doing?
The one and only Z. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. You have to meet Marcus.
Hey, Marcus.
Sorry, what
How
do we
are
do,
you,
Marcus? This is Z Anderson.
All right.
Rise Up. Thanks for taking a minute to hang out with us.
Oh, I love it.
We're talking today about bread and meat and making. So you're the bread guy. You're the soon to be sung but not often enough sung.
We
hero.
had to get the best of the best.
Go get him,
so I
Marcus.
asked
Go
Chef,
get him. Go get him.
And he said Rize Up Bakery is the best of the best.
Well, we try really hard to do the best we can.
Okay.
And that's all you can ever do. So,
Okay.
But I'm happy. So.
My natural question is, I know this came up during the pandemic, but like, why bread?
Well, for me, I was an aspiring chef. And then everything that had to do with chefing kind of like came to an end really quick.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time making sure my kids were on all their Zoom meetings and at school.
As we all did. Sure.
And I started a text thread, and I just started texting with other people, trying to have a certain amount of community, quarantine meals, and inevitably it turned into sourdough. Everybody and their mama decided to make sourdough.
Okay.
I didn't really think of myself as a baker at all. You would have asked me if I wanted to be a baker.
Right.
I said no.
Because for me, it's too much science, right? I like to mess around.
That's what.
Am I wrong?
No, yes, you're wrong.
Okay.
So,
It's okay. He tells me that all the time. I'm used to
so
it.
this is the thing. At the beginning, you don't know what you don't know.
Okay.
And it's hard to get the chops.
Okay.
But once you get the chops, very similarly to being a chef, once you understand it, then you can break the rules, then you can change things. And that's actually what Rize Up has really done is I have gotten really, really good at doing things that most people don't do with bread. And a lot of that is from my heart and intuitive.
Okay.
But I had to understand how to make beautiful bread before I could start like freaking it and changing it.
So once you figure out the beginning and the end, and then you can put your Z-ness into it.
You can put this.
Your
soul.
Z-ness.
You can drop in the Z.
I'm not saying that.
Don't ever use the word zenus.
Can we cut
What
that
happened right now? He's too good.
So,
Don't
okay.
give him a terrible
Next
adjective.
natural question is like, what makes your bread unique?
Well, we have a 3-day cold fermentation process. So we have our original like time where we do our stretches and our fold. We keep everything bulk at a certain rate, and then we put it in the fridge for 3 days. And
Okay.
that low, slow, cold fermentation with certified organic flours really makes it so it's good for your gut biome. And then it allows me also a certain amount of room to play. So I can really get crazy with the flavors because I know I'm gonna have a long time to really build that flavor up in the bread. And that, I think, that attention to detail and just love is really what makes us who we are.
Do you guys do more than just sourdough? Or is it strictly sourdough?
We do more than sourdough.
Okay.
So we have some yeasted bread. We do cookies and pastry and hand pies and tea cakes and things like that as well. But our core is sourdough bread.
Sure.
And then kind of like the very intricate, different foodie versions of sourdough.
Yeah. Now, if I just want to buy it, I just go to Rainbow Grocery and I pick it up.
Buy Right, Gus's, over Berkeley Bowl.
Okay.
Nice.
You know, and then of course farmers markets, which is like the lifeblood of real foodie in Northern California in general. So, you know, from coming and trying to be a chef to now being a baker, I still have the same thing, which is the representations at farmers markets is like kind of like hub of real like food in Northern California.
It's you're very Bay centric. It's a very Bay Area thing to do because I think at the end of it, you're supporting the community.
Yes,
while
community is everything.
Getting your love out there.
Well, I feel like there's no way I could have scaled from my house in 20 loaves a week.
You would have been divorced.
Yeah, exactly. I did get to a place where when I got to about 150 loaves out of my house, where my wife was like, you know what, this is really cool, but you need to go somewhere
And I need
else.
to sleep.
Yeah. She's like, there's flour everywhere. You got every flat surface has got bread cooling on it, you know, so yeah.
Now, for every home cook out there who has dreamt about making sourdough bread, give me like 3 pro tips, because they're here for the pro content, like from a master. 3 pro tips on making your own sourdough. If I don't know anything.
So your engine is your starter. And one of the key questions I ask people who don't know a lot about making bread, who want to know more, is I always ask them, what temperature water did you feed your starter with? Ooh. And that's where the scientific part comes in, because people will pull their starter out from their fridge, which is about 40 degrees, and they'll pour some water into it and they'll feed it, and then they don't understand why it doesn't bubble. Well, if it's 40 degrees and you pour in 60-degree water, it's like 50 degrees. And it needs to be 74 to 84 degrees to really,
So that's the first key, 74 to 84 degrees.
74 to 84 degrees.
Okay.
If you are 80 degrees, if you have your starter at, well, what's the ambient temperature in anyone's kitchen in San Francisco? I'm pretty sure
I live in the
it's not-
sunset. It's like 40 degrees.
Yeah, pretty sure it's not 80 degrees. So if you want your starter to stay on track and propagate, you can't be in the corner in a 60-degree room with 60-degree starter. It's going to take 2 days to get there.
Okay.
And so I normally feed it 90 to 100-degree water to offset that and get it moving. And then if it's bubbly and really beautiful, people don't even know. Like, I mean, that's going to be the first starter.
So that's the number one
That's the
tip is
number
it's
one
got to
tip.
be a certain temperature.
If your starter is bunk,
You're
you
done.
have a flat loaf.
Okay.
It's just not going to work.
All right, hit me with number 2.
Number 2 is a lot of people do it by hand because they want to feel connected. But if you really want a loaf that pops, I would stay away from really high hydration dough.
Okay.
Because people just make slop and they don't understand that they're not building gluten. And the gluten bonds are what's going to hold the air, right? And it's what's going to allow it to kind of pop.
Okay.
If you want a loaf that lifts up and looks like a Rize Up loaf, it can't be like, water. So
Okay.
it needs to have a little structure. And that structure comes from the kind of flour that you're using and the amount of kind of like motion that you can get, or stretches and pulls and stretches and folds that you're gonna be able to have. If you have a kind of like a KitchenAid mixer with a dough hook, you should use it.
So dust off your KitchenAid. What kind of flour am I using?
You want a high gluten bread flour,
Okay.
right? A lot of people want to use really, I want to use a lot of whole wheat, or I want to use spelt, and all those things are great for flavor. They're like aromatics, right? But if you're counting on a loaf to have structure, you need a certain amount of gluten content.
Okay.
So if you have really low gluten-based amount of flour, and then you're not mixing it and you're not stretching it, it's just gonna be like Play-Doh.
Okay. And what's the third tip?
I thought that was it.
That was the third tip.
Was that third?
Pay attention.
Oh my goodness. He's
So what's
over.
Marcus works at night. Anyway,
Last question, and this
is our goodbye, I think.
I know. Last question.
We're getting the high sign from
I
Terry.
know. Last question. I have heard that the process of making sourdough bread makes it okay for gluten intolerant people.
That is
Why is that?
because
Not gluten, like not
Celiac.
an allergy,
Not
not a
celiac.
celiac. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not a doctor, but gluten intolerant, you should be able to tolerate the properly made sourdough bread because.
okay, so can we curse on this?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. all right.
It's edited, right?
So what I tell people all the time, a lot of people that think they're gluten intolerant, they're shitty flour intolerant, right? A lot of flour, in order for you to make money doing this, they cut costs by using cheap flour. And if you have a certified organic flour, and then you're making sure that you are you have a long fermentation process, all the little bugs are pre-digesting it and making it so that it's better for you.
Okay.
Right. And so if you use yeasted, you're basically trying to speed that up. The time, it's like making a really good stock or a really good stew. You can't make a really good stock in 10 minutes, right? You need to boil it down. You need to build your flavors. It's the same thing with making bread. You naturally making sourdough bread is like a 6-8 hour process. So you're already going to get a lot of that. But the cold fermentation is really the thing, all the little buggies doing their job.
Sure.
What makes it so that when you eat it, it doesn't spike your glycemic levels. And when you eat it, it doesn't clog you all up. It's because they've already done the job of pre-digestion, right? And that's what fermentation really is for us.
Okay.
Awesome.
So, safe for gluten intolerant and low glycemic index.
Yes.
This is like basically a superfood.
I mean,
Incredible.
if you have diabetes and you go to the doctor,
Yeah.
they'll tell you if you're going to eat bread, you should eat sourdough. And
Okay.
if you're going to eat sourdough, you should eat the best sourdough.
And if you need the
And
best sourdough,
it might just
Right,
be
it might
here.
just be one of the
We have to hit the
great
street, my friend.
you got to hit it. Rise Up.
You are the
Buy
man.
Right, Rainbow, Gus's. I don't want to
Berkeley
interview. I
Ball.
don't want to interview
No, get in there
whatever
for one.
this
Get in
is.
there for one. He's very
Thank
good
you,
at
Chef.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right,
My man,
I want to go
thank
get
you.
some bread. Come on.
All right, let's get you. Come on.